Hi, I'm Natalie, and this is another Sew Hungry Hippie sewing course. Today we are going to make my friend Cindy, who owns the Nosy Pepper, we're going to make her Piera Tote, which happens to be named after our mutual friend Piera. So for this course, we're doing the small size because you know I wanted to do the large size, but I know a lot of you say you like the smaller bags. So I'm going to do the small size. We are using our Surprise Vinyl Club vinyl, which is super gorgeous, perfect for fall. Actually, it's perfect all year round. It has kind of this denim look with a little zhuzh, so I'm hoping you'll love it. Now, just a quick FYI. For the tutorial that I'm sewing, I'm going to use water-resistant canvas so I can cut down on some time. You know I love it when I don't have to interface. In your SVC package, however, I promised you quilting cotton, so you're going to get a coordinating quilting cotton. If you're using the quilting cotton on your bag, please interface it. At a minimum, SF 101 or similar like Cali Dell. You could also, if you wanted, layer up that SF 101 to have it be even a little more rigid or whatever you like. It's your decision. But I don't feel that I can send you all this in good conscience because some of you really don't like sewing with it. So that's why I'm doing it, okay? However, if you're on the fence and you've never used it before, why not dive in? Get a piece on our website and you can sew this right with me with no time on interfacing. Okay, let's go overhead and I will show you these pattern pieces. We need to put them together. So I use my paper rotary cutter and trim away the excess and match up the rectangles and then tape it in place. Your printed pattern piece will have pieces for the small included. This one is fully intact. This one I already cut out. Let me see. Let's cut all these pattern pieces out. If you want, you can fast forward through this section if you're used to cutting things out. Okay, so we have got our exterior pockets, which we're going to fold. We're going to cut some on the mirror. So this is like mirroring. I'll walk you through that, don't worry. We've got our exterior main panel. We've got our pocket pieces and lining main panel. These lines are really important, so we'll want to be mindful of that. And then we've got our gusset. And a few other pieces are listed in the pattern that we will go through together here and cut them out. What did I do? I had this all folded funky. Where am I? Help! Oh my God. Okay. All right, so page 3, she goes over seam allowance, which is 1 centimeter or 3/8 of an inch. I just use the width of my Juki's, my regular sewing foot, and it's about that. Okay, this isn't brain surgery, so we don't have to be down to the microscopic millimeter. It's gonna be okay. Just stay consistent throughout. On page 4, she has more cutting directions, and that's what we're gonna go through right now. So let me get this beauteous vinyl open. One of the things you will have to decide is for your crossbody strap, do you want to use webbing? Do you want to use vinyl? Do you want to use a leather strap and just not have it be quite as long? Those are all things that you can decide. If you want to make it from the vinyl, I would suggest cutting that first. This vinyl is about 54 inches long. It's not quite 60, but for me, crossbody straps at 54 inches long are plenty long enough. Still gives a lot of room to adjust it. So decide what you want to do and go from there. All right, I'm going to take you overhead. I have folded my vinyl piece in half, and I'm folding it in half again, roughly, matching that top straight edge. And I'm gonna go ahead and cut a vinyl strap like she says. Now, in her instructions, it's a 4-inch width, and then you can fold it a couple of different ways to get your strap width. I am gonna cut mine only 2 inches wide because vinyl doesn't fray, and I'm using 1-inch hardware. So for my long crossbody strap, I am simply going to fold it in half like this and be done with it. In the pattern, she has you do this and then sew down each raw edge. Some things, as you know, I just change up a little bit to make it easier or quicker, but it's personal pref. Okay, so I've got my strap. One thing to note on the pattern is she has exterior fabric and exterior accent fabric. I am doing both from this denim vinyl. So I'm gonna go overhead and just say vinyl as a reminder and vinyl as a reminder to me. This is for my brain. And then lining fabric is down here. And then the interfacing I am going to omit because I'm using vinyl and water resistant canvas. Okay, so let's get our pieces cut. I'm just gonna go right down the checklist. 2 main panels from pattern piece on the fold. Here's our main panel. So I will take you overhead. Let's see if this is wide enough. Yes, it is. Okay. Since it's not going to be tall enough to get 2 pieces out, I'm going to utilize that top straight edge so that I don't have to do more cuts than what's necessary. And I'll just cut this curvy bit here. There's one. I'm going to do it again. Okay, exterior main is complete. Now we are going to do our gusset. I'm going to bring this back a bit. I don't want to waste anything, because if I have leftover vinyl, I can make an easy zipper case to match or something. Go passport wallet, really anything, travel case. There we go. And there's that. There's the exterior done for the gusset. I'm just going to use a clip. I'll have to cut it from the lining, I think. Okay, let's see here. This is the pocket piece and the lining. Let's see, what do I need here? Lining. Okay, that's for the lining. I don't need to do that one right now. I'm going to cut this off so it's easier for me to work with the remaining vinyl. And we need 1 accent and 2 exterior. So 3 pieces for the outside, it looks like, if I'm capiching this correctly. Could do it like this. Or should I keep it this way? All right, let's do 2 cuts this way. I'm going to line up that bottom edge. Least amount of cutting as possible. turn it because it's easier for me to cut on my right. There we go. I missed a little thread here. Okay, so that gives me 2 mirrored pieces. See what I mean by mirrored? And then we're gonna need one more piece, which she's calling for as an accent, but I'm just gonna cut it from the vinyl. Let's just do, I think it's gonna be this way. All right. Okay, so there are those, and then we're also going to cut from the vinyl. We need 2 10-inch by 1.5-inch pieces for the recessed zipper. Let's see if this will give me enough. Is this 10? Oh, it will if I can straighten it up. This is 1.5. Is that right? Yeah. 1.5. There's one. Now I need another piece. Recessed zipper panels. Now let's trim these down to size, length 10. Okay, there are my recessed zipper panels. Those seem so little. Hopefully it's good. Okay, now we need strap connectors. 2 by 4. I'm gonna cut a 2-inch strip here. And then 4. This one isn't gonna quite be 4, so let me do, this one is 4. Now I want to label these because otherwise I might get confused. Strap connectors. Okay. I might as well do my recessed zipper panels too. Just in case, you never know who or what may interrupt or what will happen. Okay. All right, so I've got those done. Handles we don't need to do, omit for small, we're making the small size. And then the strap, remember I did 2 inches by 54, so I'll just label this strap. So that's there. Let's see. Zipper ends, 1.5 by 2.5. I'm not sure I'm gonna do the zipper ends out of vinyl, to be honest, but I'll just put this aside in case I decide to. Sometimes I just wait to see how it's going into the pattern and make an educated guess. If you're doing zipper tabs on anything, I recommend using fabric or water-resistant canvas, very, very thin, because then the tabs will sit flatter and look better. So I'll just leave those scraps there in case I decide to use it. So we've got that. Now we're on to the lining. And remember, if you skip the introduction, you're going to have quilting cotton in your SVC package. I am using water-resistant canvas. I can't use quilting cotton because it costs me a lot of money to get that in, and I'm always worried I'm going to run short. So I purposely use a different lining. All right, I'm just going to go and cut this selvage off so I don't end up using it in any way. I'm going to cut this piece down so it's easier to manage for right now. Okay. Well, let's do main panels first. On the fold, using this straight edge down here at the bottom. Right here, less cutting worked for me. Water-resistant canvas doesn't really have a right and wrong side, so I can just cut it any old way. I'll come over to this side for the other piece. Fold pattern here and cut 2 lining fabrics. So we're going to fold it on that dotted line and cut 2 more pieces. So this is the fold. Looks like I can use this top edge. Less cutting. Just make sure your fabric is good on both sides and you're not cutting anything diagonally or missing an edge or whatever. I'm going to have to recut that piece. Okay, there's one. Here's my second piece. Okay. There's that. We need this 4 lining pieces it looks like. Am I reading that right? We need 2 lining up here and then 2 lining down here, mirrored. So I'm going to cut these 2 first. Now I've got to mirror that pattern piece. This is folded. I've got 2 layers and we're going to mirror it like this. So right away I can cut this down so it's easier for me to manage. And there are those. Okay, let's have a check here. We need to do a gusset. So gusset from the pattern piece. Here's this. Okay, there we go. We need the recessed zipper panel. So again, we can just measure that one. It is 10 by 1.5. So if I fold this and do 1.5-inch cuts, I can then trim the length down to be perfect. I sure hope that's right. It just seems like such a small little gusset. Or I mean, not gusset, zipper panel. Okay. There's those. Lining slip pocket from pattern piece. Lining slip pocket, let's see. Oh, I already did that, I think, didn't I? Yeah, these are the slip pocket pieces. So I did that. And then an 8 by 10 or 7 by 10 for small for the zipper pocket. I'm going to cut at the 10-inch mark here, because then I know that this is going to be long enough to do the 7-inch cut. And I'm going to measure this, make sure it's good. 7 by 10. All right. I need to label that one, because otherwise a rectangle looks pretty general and I'll be confused when it's time to sew it. So I'm going to get my Post-it, and this is called lining zipper pocket pieces. Oh, we need 2 of them. Lining zipper pocket. Okay, so let me cut one more piece. I don't have a scrap piece big enough, so I'll just have to cut it from this. Don't rip it, it sounds terrible. Okay, we're gonna do this cut as 7. This one is the 10. Okay. Okay. Okay, all my pieces are cut, so I can check that off. And again, I'm just skipping the interfacing because of the materials I'm using. So if you're using a domestic machine and you are using interfacing and you want to keep it out of your seams, go ahead and cut down your interfacing by about 1 centimeter, 3/8 of an inch, so that it stays out of your seams. I'm going to be using my Juki today with Gutermann thread and a Microtex 8012 needle. Okay, so now we're going to skip down to the second diagram on page 5. Cut the top portion of the lining main panels at the line indicated on the pattern piece. Okay, let's make sure that we're doing this correctly. So I'm going to bring over my pieces. That dashed line were the pocket pieces. Now it looks like for the lining we're doing that recessed zipper, so I'm going to line these pieces up, make sure it's correct, and we're going to fold on the solid line and then match it up at the bottom curve, and we're cutting away across here. I'm going to bring in my ruler. For me, this is that dashed line on my cutting mat. So I can be sure I'm cutting both correctly at the same time. We are going to use these pieces, so don't get rid of them. I'm going to do this. What is she calling them? Let's see, I don't know. Let's say recessed keep. I'll just call it that. Otherwise, I think I would be tempted to throw these out. Okay. Let's move this to the side. So that takes care of page 5. We're going to flip it over to page 6, and we are getting right into preparing the zippers. Now, I've got number 5 and number 3 zippers. If you're in the SVC, we're only going to send one or the other. I can't send all these zippers. SVC, Surprise Vinyl Club, is not a kit. It's just a lot of supplies to get you going. So take that into account. I need 2 zippers that are number 3 and 1 main that is number 5. So let's see here. Let me cut my zippers before I get all messed up. Okay, zippers. Oh, it's on page 2. Remember, we're doing this small. If you need to circle it, go ahead and circle it. That always helps me stay organized in my head. Okay, number 5 zipper, we want 14-inch length 1. And for the number 3 zippers, we want 1 10-inch length and 1 8-inch length. So I'm going to take you overhead. These are my notes. It is right here, but this helps my brain. Okay? So I'm going to cut my number 5 to 14 inches right now. Put on my poles. My pole, sorry, I keep pluralizing that. It's not plural. Do I have a pole? Yes, I do. There's the number 5. And then number 3, let's do a 10-inch and an 8-inch. Got all this zipper tape left, so that's good. These are so little. Okay, we've got our pieces. Let's get ready to sew. So this is page 6, and it's step number 1. Prepare the zippers. Take a zipper end piece and fold in the 2 short ends 1/4 inch towards the wrong side. I want to say this really quick. You can do zipper tabs however you want to. It may look a little bit different than the pattern result, but it's not wrong. So I just want to clarify that really quickly, because most of the time when I see zipper tabs done a different way, I just do it my way. And a lot of sewists do this. I'm not trying to be argumentative with the pattern designer. Not at all. It's just a certain technique a lot of times is ingrained in my head, and I start doing it without even realizing. So I just want to clarify that really quick. Okay, I'm going to grab my zipper tabs. All right, let's start with step 1 and do our zipper tabs. We're going to use the 10-inch long number 3 zipper, and we're going to trim it down. In the pattern, she has you trim it down to 9 3/4. I'm going to trim mine to 9 1/2. And that's just because I know myself and I need that little extra bit. Take your zipper tabs and fold them in 1/4 inch or a little more, whatever. Fold it in half again so it's like a Pac-Man. And stick one end in to touch the fold and sew right across. There it is. We're going to do the same for the other side, and then we will trim it down. And place it in here to touch that fold. You can use a clip or a pin to hold it in place if you prefer, or tape or whatever you want. And now we will trim it. Okay, so that are steps 1, 2, and 3. Flip it over. We are going to put a piece of lining down. Let's see here, pocket pieces. Let's find our pocket pieces. These are the slanty ones. So let's see here. I'm gonna do this one first, and my lining. Here they are. Okay, so up first, we're gonna put a lining pocket piece down. I am going to use some double-sided sticky tape to help me out. I'm not putting it edge to edge. I'm just gonna get it the majority of the way across. All right. And now I'm placing my zipper. You do want some space on both sides. I'm matching those top raw edges. If you need to lift it up and relocate it, go right ahead. The double-sided sticky tape is not permanent. And then I know she says to baste now. You can totally do that. Or you can sew the exterior with it, okay? And it's this piece. Make sure it looks like mine. And let's sew this across. Now I'm going to take the mirror image for the exterior and place it here. If I can get this paper up. mirror image and tack that down with your fingers. Match that raw edge. That wasn't perfect placement, so I'm just going to lift it and do it again. Okay, let's sew. Since I can see the zipper better on this side, I'm going to sew all the way down. I'm coming up to where that pole is, and I'm just going to lift my foot, my sewing foot, and move the pole out of the way so it doesn't bump me out. All right, I can lift this up, close the zipper a bit. It's easier to press that way, and then fold it backwards. I'm going to press that with my fingers, and I'm going to go to the back side and press that down really well with my fingers. We'll top stitch that in just a sec. Let's do it right now so it behaves. You can change this up to a longer stitch length if you desire. All right, we've got this side complete, so now we're going to add this side. So let's do your exteriors are going to be right sides together. I'm going to add a little double-sided sticky tape here. And right sides together. And then once again, little double-sided sticky tape. And the lining piece. Check both sides, and let's sew right across here. I'm getting close to that zipper pull. Let's move that out of the way. Press this up, press this back. If you want to give this a whack with your hammer, your mallet, go right ahead. I can't at the moment. I've got some people visiting here. I don't want to be too loud. So I'm going to take it to the machine and top stitch this side. All right. Now, make sure you're comparing yours with the diagram here and that it's correct. So we just did 5, 6, 7, and 8. We're going to flip the page. We're going over to step 9. Bring the pocket together so that the zipper is on top. Yes, and the zipper pull is on the right when closed. Match all the edges. I'm going to use clips to hold it in place as I work my way around. And we are going to baste around that curvy edge, okay? I'm turning this up to a 5 for stitch length. And I'm just as close to the edge as comfortable. I might have to switch to my Teflon foot. This sort of feels like it doesn't want to go. We'll see. If you're getting resistance with your foot, not wanting to sew the material, you just switch to a Teflon foot. We'll see how far I can take this one. All right, I'm just gonna tidy up my edges here a little smidge. Sometimes I don't cut perfectly accurately, so I just tidy it up after I baste. There. Cute. Okay, so that was step 9. Now we are moving to step 10. Place one of the exterior slip pocket pieces on your table, right sides up. Okay, is that this one? Yeah. Place the other half directly. Oh, maybe this was supposed to be lining, huh? Well, I don't care. I really like it with the vinyl showing. So let me just cut another mirror edge of this. It's not wrong. You can just do whatever you like. That's what I love about sewing. All right, so I want this to be a mirror edge. I'm gonna do like this. Okay, problem solved. Here we go. Okay, so one is on the work surface and the other is going to be like this. And we're gonna sew right across here. I hope. I gotta turn my stitch length back down. Just right. I'm gonna open it. I am going to take my mallet and spread that seam open. It'll just sit a little better. You don't have to do this, but I like my seams to be really crisp. So I'm going to take the time to do it. For some reason, I had double-sided sticky tape up here. Must have been from earlier when I screwed up. All right, here we go. Yep, I sure do have double-sided sticky tape there. Don't look. Let's see if I can get this super flat and tidy. All right, let's top stitch right across there. Looks good. Okay, so that was 10 and 11. Now we are going to step 12. So we're going to place one of our exterior main panels here. On the work surface. And we're going to put, ooh, I need to tidy that up. I'm going to match that bottom edge. Awesome. And then will this, yes. See, that's the little accent, but won't this be cool as a bag? All right, so let's sew all these layers at the same time, if we can. One pass on vinyl is better than two. Let's see if I can do it. If you're unsure about it, absolutely sew one down, this one, baste, and then lay this on top and baste again. This is going to be so pretty. I really like this style. She did a good job designing this. All right, we're going to sew all the way around. You're not sewing over the zipper tab, you're sewing right by it. See that? I am going to have to switch to my Teflon foot. It's not liking this foot. That's a quick fix. I may need to change my needle too, because this has been quite a few projects already. So we'll see. I love it. I'm just trimming up this seam allowance a little bit. Okay. So that is step 13, I can check off. Now for the handles and the strap, step 14. Take the strap, here's mine. I'm gonna move this out of my way. So you can do it how she does it in the pattern. It's totally fine. Or you can do it this way. Both ways are correct and they work just fine. So I'm going to take mine. Sorry, I thought I was overhead. And I'm going to fold it in half, meeting those raw edges. And I'm going to sew down to hold it. Sew down sounds like a hoe down. Don't pull or you'll end up with a twisty strap. So I'm not pulling, I'm just meeting those raw edges. like to take the strap out, flip it over, and sew the other long edge. This helps prevent a twisty strap. And there we are. Here's our strap. Now I'm going to put the two short ends together and give it a trim. That way my threads are trimmed at the same time. Okay, so we've got our hardware. We can add that now, looks like. My brain doesn't work the way she does it, which is correct. She does it a correct way. I also do it a correct way. It's just different, and it's just how my brain works. I have tried to do it their way, other people's ways, and it doesn't work for me. I apologize, but I'm going to take you overhead and do it my way. First, I take it up and over that bar and down around the loop-de-loop, and then this will get sewn. So I'm just going to let that be for a moment. And then this end goes around the loop-de-loop, the swivel, and it comes back up. I give myself a little room around that center bar. I bring this short edge up and down over the center bar, and then attach it to that lower piece here. I do have more videos showing that really slowly if you need it. Okay, I'm gonna sew these two pieces together and then the other swivel. You could also use a rivet here if you prefer. Vinyl doesn't fray, so I can have that raw edge there and it's not a problem. If it bothers you, just tuck it under. All right, and here's this one. I'm just going to trim these threads. And then there. We can skip the handles because we're making the size small, and she doesn't have us put handles on the size small. So that just took us through step 20. And now we are flipping the page 12, step 21. We're gonna grab those connectors, the little strap connectors, and I like to use double-sided sticky tape here to help me hold these pieces down while I'm sewing them. It doesn't have to be the whole length across. If you're okay with a little smidge, you can do that too. Some people even use a glue stick. It's just personal pref, whatever you like. Oop. And it's not permanent, so if you need to lift it and redo it, it's okay. And I'll sew that down in just a sec. Meet in the middle. All right, let's sew these edges down. Now these are really short pieces, so it's okay to pivot and go up, because the chances that it's going to twist are nil, being such a little piece. of these. So now you can use rectangle rings or D-rings. They both will work the same. This is step 23 now. The top stitching was step 22. So I'm going to use D-rings because that's what I have the most of. And I'm flipping it through the D-ring, and then let's see, I need to look at her diagram. She wants us to meet those edges in the back. I'm going to rivet this onto the gusset, so I'm just going to let that chill for a moment. You can sew them down or you can use rivets, but we're about to put it on the gusset piece, the exterior gusset piece. So step 24, grab your exterior gusset, and you're going to measure 2 inches down from the top edge, and we want our little D-ring just above that top edge, right there, and in the center. Does that look pretty good? That does look pretty good. Okay. You can use clips. You can use double-sided sticky tape. You can use whatever works to help you keep it in place. Nope, those are not going to work for me. Like I said, I'm going to do rivets. So I'm going to grab my rivet press. I've got my 12mm double cap rivets here. I better draw a chalk line to be safe so I know where I'm going. And again on this side. Okay. When it's centered, I'm going to put one in and then I'll do the second. I am going through all those layers, so it's got quite a chunk to grab onto. I feel that it will be pretty secure and safe. Doesn't this remind you of denim? I just love this vinyl. And I don't want this to shift. And there it is. We're going to do the same on the other side. I've done 8 million bags. So yes, I am eyeballing this. You can absolutely measure it out if you so desire. Remember, you can sew these down. If your machine can handle it, sew it down. If you need to use fabric, that's okay. It's not wrong. Sew that puppy down so we can keep moving. Here we go. All right, I'm gonna push that stuff to the side. So we did step 24. We did step 25. I did rivets instead of sewing. And we did step 26. So we can flip the page and we are going to page 14. We're not going to attach handles, so we can just skip that part. Skip step 27. We are going to move to step 28. Let's mark the center of our gusset piece by folding it in half. And I'm going to do a little chalk. That's the half mark. And then we need an exterior main panel. We're going to line up those centering creases. All right. just going to check myself one more time. Yep, good. Okay, right sides together. Line up the centering crease first. Then we'll go up to the top. We'll work our way up. The curve here, you're just going to have to fudge it a little bit. I'll show you. It'll be fine. Line up those top edges. If you want to put a clip on the top, sometimes that is helpful. Just remember you're not sewing across the top. Now I'm going to work my way down using as many clips as I need to. And down here at the curve, I'm just going to sort of cajole it into place. This vinyl is pretty receptive to sewing a curve, so it shouldn't give you too much hassle. And here we go down this side. All right, now what we're gonna do is sew all the way around. Please don't be too hard on yourself, especially if you're new to sewing curves. Give yourself some leeway, keep practicing. It doesn't need to be perfect to be gorgeous, okay? Just remember that. Cool, that worked. Now we're gonna add it to the other side. Remember this one? This is gonna be a little bit more of a what I'm trying to say. Again, middle crease to middle crease. I don't know what you're gonna do. And we're working our way around. Same thing. It does get thick down here, so you're going to want to bring in your mallet and smash it down. Really give it some smash. Okay, now this side. Okay, here's this. Again, we're just going to sew all the way around. Let's go to the sewing machine. There's a bit of a hump here. If you need a hump jump on your machine to keep your foot level, please add that in the back. The Juki, for whatever reason, doesn't need it. It's just a heavy-duty, good quality machine. Wish I could give everyone this machine. So we just finished step 29, which was adding the second side to our gusset to the main body panel. So we can flip the page over to page 15. Now we're going to assemble the lining pocket. So I'm just going to move this out of the way for a second. And our lining pockets are those, is this right? Fold pattern piece here, lining fabric. I think these are the pockets. We want to make sure we're using the right piece. Let's go overhead. So if I cut it there for the lining main pieces, and we cut it here for the pocket pieces. So be sure you're using the right ones. You want to place your lining slip pocket pieces right sides together and sew right across the top. Now for me, using this material, doesn't really matter which side is right side. Just gonna go ahead and sew them. Let's go to the machine. And I'm gonna come back over here, flip this up, and then bring the pieces wrong sides together. So that seam is nice and neat at the top. And then I'm gonna top stitch that straight edge. Okay, so there's step 30 and 31. Now we're going to place one of the lining main panels on our table right sides up. This is step 32. And then place the lining slip pocket directly on top, aligning the side edges, side and bottom edges. We're going to baste around the perimeter and then set it aside. So baste all the way around. Let's go to the machine. I'm going to turn my stitch length back down to 3 before I walk away. And there's that. Now step 32 is done and we can set it aside. Let's flip over to page 16. Take the two lining zipper pocket pieces. So those are the square or rectangles. Press the bottom edges towards the wrong side by 1/4 inch. I'm just going to use some tape. It'll help me keep this material behaving. Okay. Draw a line that is 1 inch from the top and 8 inches wide. So I'm going to use my acrylic ruler. This here is 10 inches this way. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this. Hopefully this will show up. Start 1 inch in, start 1 inch in, and 1 inch down from the top edge, draw a line, and then 3/8 of an inch down from that. We are creating our zipper window, and then you can just connect the sides. All right. step 35, take the lining main panel without the slit pocket. So that's our remaining piece here. And let's find the center. I like a centering crease. It's very simple. And then the zipper pocket with the box, let's find that center. And we're going to place this 2.5 inches down from the top of the panel. So I like to use my acrylic ruler, and I find my 2.5 inch mark and set it there. I drew a line 2.5 inches down, and I'm going to place that top zipper window line right on that other line and centered. Centering creases match. Oof. I am going to use a couple of pins to hold this in place. You could also use magnets, clips, or double-sided sticky tape. And let's sew on that rectangle. If you turn your stitch length down here for the corners, you'll have very tight, nice corners. Mine is at a 1.5 here. Very, very tight stitches. Okay, now I'm going to turn back up to 3. All right, we're going to push this through. This is step 38, pushing it through to the wrong side. I always look from both sides. If I've got any puckers, I go in and release a stitch and help reduce that pucker. You can iron this if you want to. I'm sort of refusing to turn on my iron today. It's too hot. So there's that. Okay, so that is step 38. We have just pushed this through the window. Turn the page. Step 39, place our zipper. It says 8 inch. Is ours 8 inch? Yes, it is. It's your remaining number 3 zipper. Okay, I'm going to use double-sided sticky tape as usual. If we want to go overhead, I place this right along that zipper tape. This piece. There we are. Just makes it easier to place. If you need to sew across the short ends to help yourself, go ahead. It's absolutely fine. I hope I didn't cut this too short. You know, a lot of times I like to cut the zipper about 1 inch longer just so it's much bigger than the window and I know it won't be short. So just keep that in mind. You might want to cut it Okay, I've peeled off the paper. I'm positioning the zipper how I want it to sit in the bag. And then I'm gonna place this on top. And I really hope it's not too short. Oh my God. Okay. I'll make it. That piece is a little too short. I don't like it. I'm not going to be happy with it. I'm going to cut it longer. I could cry about it, or I could just cut another piece and move on with my life. So we're going to cut our zipper at 9 inches long and put on our pull again. There we go. All right, here's the zipper. Now where's my double-sided sticky tape? Do you see it? Nice. It's for sure tacky. All right, let's sew this in. If you have a zipper foot, you can use that. It will be easier. I'm just going to move this out of the way. Sometimes with these number 3s, it's hard to get by the foot, so I may have to take it out in order to scooch by that pull. We'll see. Can I get it here? Okay, barely. I'm going to grab my stiletto because sometimes when we're working with these layers and it's not interfaced, like the WRC, I'm not interfacing it, it can be harder to control for little fiddly bits like this. But it can be done, so just have some patience. Pull that seam down if you need to. Hold it in place with your stiletto. Coming up to that pull again. It will bump my foot out if I don't move it. Ugh. Okay. I'm just gonna have to take it out. And there's our zipper pocket. All right, so that is step 40 where we top stitch around the zipper window. Step 41, flip the lining main panel with the zipper box over so it's on your work surface wrong side up. The zipper pocket should be right side up and wrong sides together. Yeah, that's how this is. Place the other, remember this one? Oh, it looks like my fold came undone. Let me get that folded again. Step 42, place the other lining zipper pocket piece directly on top of the lining zipper pocket attached to the panel. Okay. The bottom folded edge is at the bottom. Pin or clip in place, leaving the bottom edge unsewn. So I'm going to clip this top edge first and sew that while moving the main body out of my way. And then I'll sew along the sides. And we'll keep going. So if we go to the machine, I want to show you this. You have to fold this down out of your way, and we're sewing across the top of the pocket right now. So there's the top sewn and the body did not get caught in it. Now we're sewing the side edges and we have to move the body out. So here is this. Moving the body out of the way and sew down the side. Be sure your pole is not going to get caught, not in the way at all. We're leaving the bottom open. We're going to go to the other side and sew this side down. Don't worry about it if there's a little crease in the pocket, geez. We're going to fix that later. There we are. Now we need to open the zipper, because guess what? We're going to attempt to turn our bag through the zipper pocket. Let's hope we can do it. We can do it, right? Now we are on step 43, constructing the recessed zipper panel. So I'm going to take those zipper panel thingamajigs, here they are, those really narrow strips, and let's go overhead. And it looks like we're going to fold the short ends in 1/4 of an inch. All right, let's fold this over. Okay, step 44, grab your number 5 zipper tape and place it on the table right sides up. We got to do a little foldy loop-de-loo thingamajig, so I'm just going to show you how I do it. Let's go overhead. Or we're going to fold the edges of the zipper to 90 degrees and sew it down. Now I'm going to clip these in place and then make sure they're not too far off. That's pretty good. Let's go to the machine. I have to take out the clip while I'm sewing it, so I'm going to use my stiletto. And my stitch length is way up at about a 1. That worked. Now we're going to do this side. And that worked. It's pretty even, good enough. All right. Step 45, place one of the exterior recessed zipper panels on your table, right side up. Here it is. Place the zipper on top, right side down, with the zipper pull to the left. Okay, so I'm going to use some tape to help me keep everything in check. Oh. All right, now we're going to place this puppy right side down, right on top. The tape is holding it in place. It's like a baste stitch for me. I really don't want to sew over this twice using vinyl, so that's why I do it this way. All right, let's sew. If I can get in there, yes. I need to turn my stitch length back up. Whoops. All right. Press them away from the zipper tape. Okay, now I'm going to top stitch around that. There we go. Now let's do the other side. You do want to make sure that this is embedded in between the two. I think I need to tack this down a smidge more or it's gonna misbehave. So I can just tell it's going to. And then you can cut out those teeth if that helps you sew any more easily. All right, let's take this back. We're repeating steps 43 through 47 to attach this piece. Okay, let's use a little bit more double-sided sticky tape. I have to get it even with this one down here. So be sure these short edges, I have mine folded up 1/4 of an inch like she says. Make sure that they're even. So that'll be sewn like that, which is correct. Exterior recessed zipper panel is on the work surface, right side up. The zipper is facing it, right side down. Your lining piece, right side facing the wrong side of the zipper. We're going to sew all these layers in place and then flip it and top stitch. Let's go to the machine. Here we're coming up to the teeth, so if you need to hand crank here, please do. And we're top stitching these layers. Pivot. All right, and I have a lot of threads to trim here. Might want to give this a press, smooth out any wrinkles, make sure your zipper is functional and that you didn't accidentally sew the bottom into your teeth. Okay, let's see where we're at now. We're over here. Let's add this to the lining. So let's take one of our lining pieces. This is the lining piece, and this is the lining piece. I'm going to go overhead, and we are going to sew this to the lining. And the way we have to do it is right sides facing up and centered. And you're going to go right across the top here. All right, let's take it to the machine. And now remember that piece that we kept when we cut it from the lining main? We're now adding that right sides together. So right side facing down, and you will sew across this as well. And now I'm gonna press that up. I'm gonna flip the page to number 21. Page 21, step 51, and we're gonna top stitch right across that seam allowance. There we are. All right, let's add to the other side. Centered. And right across with that raw edge. And let's sew it down. And you remember the next part is this, right side down. And let's take it to the machine. And I'm going to press it up so that I can top stitch nice and neatly. And that's how it will sit in the bag. So that's great. Okay, unzip the zipper. Step 53, unzip the zipper and pin or clip the zipper tail so it is out of the way. I don't think I need to do anything, but I am gonna sew over that edge just so I don't inadvertently pull off my pole. Done that before. We'll clean this edge up later, either with hardware or a little sewn on tab or something. We'll figure it out. Okay, so unzip the zipper, grab the lining gusset. Yeah, we have to add the gusset. So our gusset is here. And we're gonna find our center. Find our center here. There it is, see that? So we have to add our gusset, but that means you gotta move this zipper out of the way. You gotta pull it back out of the seam allowance here. So I am going to pin mine to the center. See how it's out of this seam allowance? And we're gonna add the gusset. So right sides together. We have to do the center first, really, and then the top edges. And then work our way down and around. Make sure you are attaching it to your bag main lining and not the pocket here. Okay, let's sew this down. and moving that pocket out of my way. One side is on. Now we'll go overhead and do our other side. I may have to unpin that zipper for a minute. Okay, here we go. Just make sure that zipper is out of the way as you're sewing the side seams. I'm going to match this center crease with the center crease. Go to the machine. All right, so there is our bag for the lining. Hang in there, it's gonna be okay. Let's finish this up. I'm very proud of you for sticking with it. Okie doke. We are at step 54. Trim all seam allowances to 1/4 inch. Open the zipper on your lining pocket. Well, I already did that. Mine is open, so I'm good. I could trim down these seam allowances a bit. Be sure you're not cutting your pocket. All right, step 54, we're going to turn our lining right sides out. We're almost there. The last couple of steps. Okay. Now we're going to take our exterior bag and place our lining inside so that right sides are together. Go overhead if you can, Ramel. And we need to make sure that we are attaching this correctly. So that the recessed zips are down on this step. Your zipper is down out of the way. And you're gonna line up these side seams on that very tippy top edge of your lining and the exterior. Okay, line these up. And we're gonna use some clips to hold in place. Nesting those seams. And then I'm going to scooch around to the other side and do these seams. If they aren't fitting, just take the bags out and re-sew your seams on the gussets for one of the bags to make it fit. Hopefully they're pretty good though. Remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. Your first time through, well, my first time through is never perfect. It's just part of the process. All right, and now this side. All right, and we're gonna sew all the way around the top. I have this little shelf. I bought it from a guy on Etsy who does woodworking a few years ago. And it will help me because it lifts my machine up. And because my machine is not a cylinder arm, it lifts it so it's easier to sew that round top edge. Here, I think we need to bring this forward so you can kind of see. See how much higher it is off the table? Because our cameras are not set up to film it high up like this, I'm just going to sew this part with the front camera. I start on a side seam or close to it. That's always what I do after many times of having a wrinkle in the front of my bag or the back of my bag where everyone notices it. So I'm just going to start sewing around, stopping with my needle down anytime I need to remove a clip. And I just kind of work the bag around. To stop quite often because it's a smallish bag and we have to adjust it as we're sewing or you'll get wrinkles in here. And I'm back to where I started. I'm going to lock stitch. Okay. There's that. Let's go overhead. Now, if your seam allowance is giant, you may want to trim this down a bit just so it can sit nicely once we turn the bag out. Just be sure of what you're slicing away. All right, you can turn the page. Pull the lining zipper pocket out. This is step 55. I'm just going to pull the whole thing out here. Here's our lining. Here's our zipper pocket. The bottom is still open. And now, we need to pull the bag through, don't we? Yeah, we need to pull the bag through. Did I miss that on her instruction? Turn the bag right side out through the pocket. Yes, I did. All right. Here we go. We're going to pull our bag through. Go slowly. Be gentle. Don't try to ramrod anything. Is that it? Ramrod? No? Aren't those the things they put in the highway to like keep the concrete strong, a ramrod? No. Rod? Iron rod? What are those things in concrete? Rebar? That's what it's called? Rebar?
Yeah, rebar.
That's a dumb name. Why do they call it that? Yeah. Maybe John Rebar invented it. Oh, Lord. Whew. Lord. Ooh, I'm loving this. Wow. It is, isn't it? All right, before we shove our lining back into the bag, we have to close up the lining zipper pocket. So fold in those pieces at the bottom if they came unfolded, like mine did. And sew the pocket closed. I'm just going to line mine up. Give me a sec. That one side just did not want to behave for keeping folded with the double-sided sticky tape. That's bizarre, isn't it? How bizarre. How bizarre. All right, let's sew right across there. Oops, I gotta lower my machine. All right. Trim your threads, tuck that zipper pocket back inside. I'm feeling those bottom corners. You'll have to feel those and push them out so the pocket sits properly. Then you can zip your pocket closed and shove your lining in. And at that top edge, we'll have to make it behave, so just bear with me. Let's go overhead, Rom. I'm pushing in the lining. See how I have to coax it out? I have to make it sit right. I could put clips all around it to make it sit overnight, or I could press it with an iron with my Teflon pressing sheet. Maybe I'll do that here at the very end. Want that to really sit nicely. We're going to top stitch that in a second. If those side corners, those side seams give you problems when you're top stitching, just stop close to it and then start again after it. Okay? Do what works for you. Nobody is going to notice that. I would not even notice that at all unless you point it out to me. And don't. Hallelujah. All right, I'm going to press all these corners out. Get everything looking fly. Get it looking good from the top edge here. Even Steven. All right, let's top stitch and we are done. I'm going to start very close to that side seam. Sometimes I have to stitch and then pivot. Move my D-ring back out of the way. See, now up here I'm coming up towards that really thick seam. I'm just gonna stop. I'm gonna take it out because I ain't got time for more stress. And I'm gonna start again as close as I can to that side seam. I'm using a gray thread. It just kind of melts in to the vinyl. You can hear it wanting to fight there. And here I am back up to the end. Okay, so it's top stitched. Now for our zipper end here, I'm just gonna add, you've got some vinyl left. Let's just do a little quick vinyl zipper tab. So I'm gonna cut a piece, let's see, this is 2 inches by 1.5 inches. Vinyl doesn't fray. So I can just attach it here and I'm gonna sew right across the edge. Let's go to the machine. Right. Just fine for a zipper tab. You could also use the hardware for that if you like. Now, we do want to trim all these threads. All right. And now we can attach our strap. This can be tucked down into the bag. And there we are. Oh, I've got to press out the curved bottom seams better. So what you can do for these edges is a lot of times I will pinch them. There's no better description. It's a pinch. I'm pushing the lining into the seam and then I'll clip this all the way around the bag and let it sit for 24 hours or overnight at least. And then that seam is really, really crisp and I don't have to turn on my hot iron because I'm already hot enough. Nobody got time for hot flashes. So I'll just pinch that all the way around and let it sit overnight. But for now, I want to show you the result. This is the Piera Tote by Nosy Pepper. And you can wear it crossbody. Isn't that cute? It's such a great size. Let me shorten it. See how the vinyl will slide in sliders? I see it all the time where people comment, the sliders don't work on vinyl. Yes, they do. You just got to make your strap small enough. So there we are. Cute. Oh, I think this is super cute. What do you think, Ramel? Do you like it?
That color looks good on you. What you're wearing right now.
With what I'm wearing, yeah. And then we've got that recessed zipper inside. So we've got some security. We've got 3 pockets in front, 2 slip pockets and a zipper pocket. And then inside, we've got a zipper pocket and a slip pocket on this side. What a great bag. Super duper love it. And I love this vinyl. It was easy to sew and looks fantastic and so unique. If you need the hardware and the rivets, we will have a Piera hardware pack available for you. So just go online, sewhungryhippie.com, and get that, and you'll be on your way. Thank you for sewing with me. I really appreciate you hanging in there with me and hanging out, sewing. It's always good to sew with a friend. And I will see you next time. Peace, love, sewing.